Today's NFL Draft Mailbag is on Chat Sports, NFL Daily. Harrison Graham, Tom Downey here on today's video. Hashtag draft or super chat in the comment section. We'll answer as many of your questions as we possibly can. So let's go ahead and kick things off from Roger Stanton getting his question in. Is Justin Fields, he broke the rules, available? Should the Dolphins draft him number 3 overall?
He put draft in there, so he found his way in.
It must have autocorrected.
Our filter pulls it if you have draft in the question, technically. Anyway, yes. I don't do it. I think if you're the Dolphins, you have to owe it to yourself to at least go through the evaluation process.
Yes.
And go, okay, had it to a fair this year. Well, he had no ground game. The O-line was bad. The receiving corps was really injured by the time he took
decimated
over. And they didn't let him air it out. So I think you saw enough from Tua to say, you know what, let's give him another year. And it's unique because they're in the top 3 and it's even a discussion. I think you still want to give Tua another shot.
It's not like he went out there, threw 10 picks in 10 games. He threw 3 in Week 17, but they got down big in that game.
I've seen worse quarterbacks in year 1 who ended up panning out. I mean, yes. Josh Allen, not as good an example, but Jared Goff was awful year 1.
No doubt about it.
I don't think you bail on Tua. As good as a prospect, I will say, as I think Fields is.
And look, Justin Fields, I think this is a hot topic right now because he literally just played the game of his life in the college football playoff semifinal against Clemson. He was outstanding, almost 400 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 pick. But I think I'm with you. I would keep it rolling with Tua, continue to build around him, get some weapons, and obviously we'll see what happens with Chan Gailey as well.
I think this is very important as well when it comes to the discussion of these players. This is a prospect.
Yep.
Like, Justin Herbert was not as good of a prospect as Tua, and that's why he ended up falling. But the reality is, prospects are also just wild cards.
Yep.
So there is no guarantee Fields is instantly better.
Nope.
As a result, if you still like Tua, if you're not done with him, which I don't think you should be, I think you roll with him again.
So we'll make this the pinned comment on today's mailbag. Pick a quarterback. Type TT for Tua Tagovailoa. Type JF for Justin Fields. Let us know who you would rather have as your signal caller. Super chat coming in from Gotham Guy. If the Cowboys grab one of the top 3 defensive backs with the 10th pick, do you see them trading up from the 2nd to late 1st to get Nick Bolton?
I think it's possible. I don't think it would be the best idea ever, in large part because you need those draft picks. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're going to put a handful of spots, okay, maybe. But, I mean, if you're going from top 10 in round 2 to, and actually you're actually behind top 10 in round 2, all the way up to like 30, that's expensive.
Yeah.
So, yes, you need a linebacker. Yes, I like Nick Bolton a lot. I think you're better served trying to wait and see who's on the board for you at that point.
Super chat coming in from Zach. Appreciate it. You really think the Patriots take another tight end after taking 2 last year? Love Pitts. Great prospect, though. Hashtag draft. They took tight ends later in the draft. It's not like they took a premier tight end. 3rd
round. And not only that, I didn't make the pick of Kyle Pitts as, okay, they've got a tight end.
Yeah.
I made the pick of Kyle Pitts, and I hope this is how NFL teams think. Hey, you know what? This is a weapon.
Yes.
You can use Kyle Pitts and 2 of those tight ends. You can put Pitts as a pure receiver if you want at times. Yep. So, frankly, Devin Asiasi I think he's a blocking tight end. The Virginia Tech kid I like with some athletic upside. Dalton Keene, thank you. Those guys aren't Kyle Pitts.
No.
The way I think you view it, honestly, is group your receivers and tight ends together when it comes to Kyle Pitts.
He's your best one instantly, and it's not even close.
He becomes your best playmaker. That's why I think it makes sense for the Patriots.
BADR is next up on today's mailbag. If the Jags hire Ryan Day, do they draft Fields first overall? Let's just cut to the chase here. They ain't getting Ryan Day.
Yeah, I don't think Ryan Day's leaving Ohio State. There's already been a report that he's not interested.
He wants that pay raise.
He wants the pay raise. Hypothetically, if they were to hire Ryan Day, that actually makes it intriguing.
Yeah, there's at least a chance at that.
Then again, Doug Marrone didn't draft Ryan Nassib when he became head coach. Bill Syracuse, if you want to go way back. So,
next up, PS4 VR, the new frontier, hashtag draft. What offensive lineman will be available at the bottom of the 1st round? Well, if you just missed our mock draft, there's a ton of offensive linemen in this class.
Yeah, a lot of this depends on, I think, who goes earlier. I think outside of Penei Sewell from Oregon, tackles 2 through whatever are a bit of a guessing game right now. The guys I feel most confident, Liam Eichenberg, I think he makes some sense for at a Notre Dame, and maybe a Tevin Jenkins from Oklahoma State.
Okay. Jaden Fitch next up. Should the Giants trade Evan Engram in a 3rd to move back into the 1st round?
I don't think that gets you into round 1.
No.
Like, honestly, guys, I know Evan Engram was a Pro Bowler, He had a lot of drops this year.
He's okay. Like he might get you a 4th, like if you were to trade him.
Yeah, and he's also near the end of his contract, so I don't think the value.
4th and a 3rd's not getting you a 1st.
They say no.
Happen. The greatness of the Raiders. That's what I think of when I think the Raiders. What is the best defensive end for the Raiders? I mean, if you're talking about prospects, I know you mocked Gregory Rousseau to the Raiders. Obviously, right now you got Crosby, you got Cleveland Ferrell, who hasn't been that good.
He was better, even though the stats don't show it.
You need more, though. You need more off the edge.
In the end, the Raiders let Cleveland Ferrell play some inside. They tried to get Carl Nassib in that role.
Nassib had a nice season.
Times.
Okay.
Times. I think if you want to find that guy who could be a defense man, could play some DT as well early, I think Kwity Paye fits what Mike Mayock likes.
Okay.
Production was not great, but he's listed at 6'4", 277. Truly just runs like a back does. He used to be one. I think he'd be a good fit. I don't know if he's going to be there, though, for Vegas in round 1.
We're going to be here every day, and especially live on Mondays and Wednesdays, so you should subscribe to the channel because Tom, Mitch, and I, we're bringing you videos every single day, and we go live every Monday and Wednesday, and sometimes when crazy breaking news happens, and we'll be live during free agency, and of course for the NFL Draft, the most viewed draft coverage on YouTube the past couple of years. Hit that big red button and subscribe today because we have a ton of coverage for you guys this offseason. Couple super chats here. Robert Wagner's first up. What's some late round studs my Seahawks could take in the draft?
Ooh, good question. Now, historically, Seattle drafts really well in the later rounds of the NFL draft. A little early for me to give you a bunch of good options there. Maybe you take a flyer on someone like a Joshua Kando out of Florida State. Highly recruited, good size, good athletic ability. Never quite produced in the way you wanted. I like Jordan Smith out of UAB, another edge rusher there. I think I look interior defensive line a little bit. I don't know where Kairos Tonga goes if you're worried about losing Poona Ford long term. A bigger body, but also a good run stopper there. A little early for me, but knowing Seattle's draft history, they're going to find someone who ends up being a stud, probably a random cornerback.
Next up is Michael. Appreciate the $10 super chat, my man. Should the 49ers move on from Jimmy, would you change to a quarterback Frank or Jones at 12? No, I would not go.
He means Trask or Jones.
Trask or Jones. Sorry about that. Misread that. Or do you think they look into free agency for replacements? Trask is way too rich at 12.
Yeah.
Even Jones. Let's say Jones. Hypothetical. Jones, 5 touchdowns, 400 yards, drops the mic against Ohio State. I still don't think he's going top 15.
Is he that different than Jimmy G in the NFL?
Probably.
Which is a good player,
but if you already have that,
I think in the end for the Niners, unless you trade up for a Lance or a Fields or a Wilson, I think you go with the Matt Stafford. You go out and trade for somebody. I don't think draft at 12, barring a surprise, is going to get you the guy that you want.
Speaking of Mac Jones, Stefano wants to know where he's going to go in the draft.
It's a great question.
I think a good fit for him is a team that has an established starter but an aging starter. Like if Green Bay didn't already have Jordan Love.
I think late round 1 is where I think the range really opens up. Maybe the Bears could get wild with it or the Niners. But
Bears could trade down and draft
I think Steelers and Saints in particular honestly make quite a bit of sense. I'll throw another team. This is probably more of a round 2 option. How about the Bucks?
Okay.
And we know Bruce Arians loves to go deep downfield. Mac Jones is a good deep ball thrower. Now, the pure raw arm strength, sideline, not ideal, but it's good enough, don't get me wrong. And mobility's not great. That's not good for Tom Brady. So I think Mac Jones actually, in terms of best fits, might be Tampa.
Curtis, with Lakers fans, do you think or do you see a world where Trevor falls to 2? No.
Sure, there is a possibility.
Fields throws for 7 touchdowns in the national title game.
Yeah, look, that's why we don't, maybe Trevor Lawrence gets hurt in his combine training. There's always a possibility, but I would be surprised if things go the way we expect.
Is Trey Lance a top 8 pick? That's what Evan Phillips wants to know because you mocked him number 8 overall.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he goes a little bit later, but I think top 8 is absolutely in his range. These are quarterbacks, guys.
If he would have played this year, he'd probably go top 5.
I'm not saying Trey Lance is my number 8 overall player. I'm absolutely not doing that. But I'm saying for teams that need a quarterback, the Jets, the Jags, probably not Dolphins, but the Falcons, maybe the Eagles, the Lions, Panthers, Broncos, Niners, dude's going top 12.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's going to happen.
Unless this combine is just horrendous.
Barring a disaster there, yep.
Now, we've talked a lot about quarterbacks, but what is the best non-quarterback prospect in this year's class? I think it's Penei Sewell, even though he didn't play this year. Maybe Jamar Chase is in that conversation, but he also didn't play this year.
Yeah, I think that's the reality here for the NFL draft. And it's unfortunate the edges aren't that great.
Yeah.
But I think Penei Sewell, Jamar Chase, in the end, I'm not finished, but I think Penei Sewell is going to be my top non-quarterback prospect.
Joshua Aranda gets the next word. Should the Patriots draft a quarterback? I think you have to see how the draft plays out.
Yep.
I could see the Patriots being opportunistic on draft night and moving up. I think if they find a guy they like in the process of, the combine, the interviews, the workouts, all that stuff, what are they, 12th overall? Is that where they're picking?
16th.
Oh, 16. Okay, they're a little lower than I
9
thought.
or 12. Or 15, sorry.
If
15.
Pick 9 or 10 comes and goes and Trey Lance is still floating around,
that's intriguing for them.
Maybe you move up.
I think that should, in an ideal world, yes, but they have to have someone that they like because it's not Jarrett Stidham, by the way.
Stidham ain't it.
Maybe it's a Mac Jones or a Kyle Trask or a Desmond Ridder, and they try to develop that guy along. But I don't think that they are in a position where, because they're outside the top 5, top 10, that they have to go quarterback in round 1 because you don't want to reach for a bad player. Ask the Bills and E.J. Manuel how that turned out.
Did not expect an E.J. Manuel name drop today. Turd Boy, #draft. Who are some sleepers in the draft? Give your producers a raise. Hey, producer Sam, he's doing a great job today. There's no doubt.
Yeah, I don't know if they end up going in round 1, but some names and guys that I like. Jordan Davis is a great run stopper. Hasn't offered a ton in terms of the passing game. Jalen Phillips from Miami had a fantastic year, the edge rusher. He might sneak into the back end of round 1. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown a lot.
Yeah, he's
the USC receiver, and I am a huge fan of the Oklahoma State receiver, Tylan Wallace.
Yeah,
there are a lot of good receivers,
If he didn't get hurt last year, he might have been a first-round pick.
Absolutely.
I think he was better than Jalen Reagor, honestly, and Reagor went in round 1. So, Joey Dreda, #draft. Tom, can you please explain to me why people want the Cowboys to draft Micah Parsons when we have linebackers and especially draft him over corners? Why?
For the same reason that Jaylon Smith was a fascinating draft pick before he got hurt. You got a great athlete who can rush the passer, hasn't actually played that much pure linebacker, so there's upside and also some downside there at the same time. And because the linebackers weren't great this year.
They were bad.
Jaylon Smith is the best at celebrating when the play doesn't matter anymore. And Leighton Vander Esch wasn't healthy and wasn't the same guy. So, in the end, I get where you're coming from. I would, in an ideal world, prefer a corner, but there is a chance there isn't a corner that the Cowboys want there. So, I wouldn't be stunned if Parsons is the pick if he's on the board there.